Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from BidAmount.com and P.L. Combs Asian Art. And today is Friday, August 18th, 2017. And as we do every week, we're going to take a look back through the newsletter catalog we sent out last week and see how the listings did. And we're going to point out a few things that haven't closed yet. And they will also be in this weekend's newsletter. And I hope some of you took the time to go over and take a look at this video series that James Cahill did. Before he passed away, on understanding and viewing Chinese paintings. It's about a 24 or 5-part series. It is excellent. It's so worth the time to watch. Put it, save it onto your menu and watch it over time. Watch it repeatedly. It's great. But before we get started on the auction results from last week, I want to take a look at a blog with you that we did earlier this week about an auction coming up on September 9th out in San Gabriel, California. Okay, the auction house is called Mega International Auctions. Sounds like a cartoon series. Well, it's in keeping because the auction is sort of a joke itself. But at any rate, what they have is they have all kinds of copies and reproductions, and there's some familiar faces in here too as far as items go. Some we saw not too long ago at Marietta, Georgia. There seems to be, they must be bringing some of these things over in sets and distributing them around the country at assorted auction houses. And one of the things that we wanted to point out was this. The cover lot of this catalog is on the right here. I can't get it fully into the screen, but anyway, that's actually the whole catalog, is this bronze, okay? This bronze, they're claiming, was sold at Christie's from the Sackler collection a few years ago. And we went and looked it up because they actually were dumb enough to put in the lot number. And we went back and checked that auction because we have all the records. And this was the piece that was sold from the Sackler collection, a Western Zhao Dynasty food vessel with the cover. Spectacularly nice one, actually. And it blew the estimate away. We went for almost $220,000. The one on the right clearly is not the same one. We were notified that somebody has actually contacted Christie's about this to let them know that somebody is misrepresenting things in their name, which is not, I don't believe, legal. All right, and then we scroll down the page here. We're going to take a look at these two. The piece on the right should look immediately familiar to those of you that see our weekly newsletter or read our blogs. It's a virtual identical twin with the same foot, the same everything, as the one that sold at Eden Galleries in Marietta, Georgia, not long ago, for around, I think it went for about $47,000. This one is estimated at $12,000 to $15,000. It's a fake. The real one's worth around $2.5 million. All right, just so you keep that in mind. But it's pretty obvious that they're importing this particular model into the U.S. like crazy because Sotheby's had one that brought a lot of money not long ago, and it's in everybody's mind, and they think, oh, look at that. You know, these are extremely rare. There's only a handful of them in the world, and the likelihood of them showing up in multiples in auction houses across America in a month, pretty thin. Okay. So just take it for what it is. And the jar on the left is obviously a copy of that very, very famous jar that was found by Christie's in England being used as an umbrella stand. A phenomenally rare piece of Ming porcelain. And here's the copy of it already on the market. Isn't that amazing how they do that? And we'll scroll down just to refresh your memory. The one on the left is the Christie's one that they sold on May 30th, 2016. for $20,447,000 and change. And on the right is the Mega International fake. As you can see, they're quite different, but at a glance, they do look very similar. All right? The one on the right is absolutely a copy. Run for your life. Okay? Run for the exits. And down below are more examples of pieces in the sale. They've got this piece of Ruware. Sure they do. And these big blue and white Qinlong pieces and the Sung piece. None of them are authentic. These are all education, though. If you want to see how good the fakes are these days, stop by Mega International and take a look at their stuff. It's just a sea of reproductions. Here's some more. Okay, the Coral Ground Bowl. They're all marked Qing Dynasty period. Blah blah blah. This one is supposed to be a Yongchen Coral Ground Bowl for $3,000 or $4,000. I think the last one sold for $980,000, just to give you a reference point. All right, so mark your calendar not to mark your calendar for this auction. Okay, now let's move over and see how the auctions on eBay did this week. First, it was this rather nice garniture set. Ended up going for $3,285. We featured it in the newsletter. I like these. It's a nice Chinese export type. It is a stock pattern. And you also see the same pattern on other types of Chinese export porcelain, tea sets, bowls, punch bowls, and plates. Okay, it was a well-known pattern. This is a very fine set, very, very well done, and it was in quite good condition. It ended up going for almost $3,300. Nice piece, nice pieces. And then there was this was the week of garniture sets, I guess. This is another garniture set. This was the one that was on Roadshow a while ago, and our friend Lark Mason down at iGavel did the presentation on this. He did a very good job with it. A very nice Buddhist altar set. The lady that owned it was quite thrilled to hear about it, and Lark was really nice with her. And he pointed out then, and they pointed out in this description, that it does have some condition issues. And with a lot of the buyers in China, even if you have a very rare set, this is a pretty rare thing, and quite attractive, very interesting colors. The condition, if it's not perfect, really impacts the price. And the set did okay, but I think the condition had a significant impact on where it went on the final price. It went for a little over, what did it go for? 80-something hundred. Let me look. 8,100, a little over 8,000. But still a nice set, and if you enjoy Chinese porcelain for the art form of it, you're not going to find another set like this. And you have to sometimes be willing to accept a little repair and restoration to get something very rare and unusual. All right, people should do more of that. And then Super Shrink, our friend here in Massachusetts, had some silver up. He's always got good silver, English, American, Chinese. He does it all. And this nice pair of Chinese dishes, beautiful quality, and they were signed. Most good Chinese silver is signed, okay, that you're going to encounter in the West. They made silver earlier before they didn't really sign things, but you're going to see very, very rarely will you see Chinese silver that was made much before about 1870. All right, most of it was made much later and into the 20th century. And this was a nice set and a nice pair of dishes, and they brought $507, which is a nice price for those. They're very attractive. And then there was this good-looking, probably early 20th century Famille Rose or Millefiori plate with a chin-lung mark on the back, and nice turquoise ground. Good-looking dish, though I like the back of it. It looks fine to me. Early 20th century, Guangxu period. Nice decoration, very, very pretty, soft colors. And it had a hairline in it somewhere. It had a hairline on the rim somewhere. But at any rate, it brought $284. Which is fine for that, given how much weight people give to any damage or any imperfection at all. Hopefully everybody's going to outgrow that one day. And then we have this beautiful Chinese export, 1830 to 1850 probably, gilt and lacquered export box, probably maybe a jewelry box or a sewing box. Has these wonderful turrets on it. It's a great design. You do see these around. They did make these in fairly large numbers at one point. Here's the interior of it open. It looks like it may, I see a line around here, and I think it probably had a liner in it at one point, which is pretty typical. And here's a picture of one side. Here's the front. And those of you that aren't familiar with these, one of the things you might not notice is that this probably originally had feet. They nearly always did, if not always. Little carved and gilt wood paw feet here, or done in brass here. And they often get broken. People put the box down too hard and break it, knock the feet off of it, and that's what you get. Here's a view of the top. The lacquer on this was also in quite good condition, and there were no chips or bangs or dents on the corners, which is nice. And the box did fine. It brought $313, which is actually significantly less than they were bringing about 20 years ago. 20 years ago, these boxes used to sell for $600 to $800. All right, and then there was this. This was 77 Pud had this. As a seller out in Ohio, we follow as much as we can. He had this very nice pair of jadeite carved drop earrings. They're really pretty. And I love the color, the toning of the jade, how it goes from a light green to a very dark green, and then gently goes back to a light green, and then to a celadon green at the top, and nicely set with these little floral devices on the screw-in. These are screw-in earrings. These aren't for pierced ears, so anybody could wear them. And they were wonderful. I thought they were great, and a lot of people apparently liked them. They went for $1,125. So that was a good price. They're a nice jade. If you like jade, I thought they were quite attractive. And then there was this probably late Yongchen or early Qinlong dish with a very heavy, strong enamels. Look at the density of these enamels. They really lavished it onto this piece, and how dense and bright the yellow deer is, and these yellow floral devices around in the cavetto, and nicely done. And I like the accent of the green. You don't realize it, but the green accent in the rim and the green in the robe really set this off. And lovely plate, and ended up going for $274. All right. I always like plates. You get a lot of art bang for the buck out of them because they lend themselves well to display on walls, and you can really enjoy them. And then there was this jar. This was a fairly small jar. It's 4 or 5 inches tall, but I thought it was very pretty, done very much in the sort of the late Qinlong style. I like the blue enamels. There's no underglazed blue on this. This is all overglazed blue with this phoenix, very animatedly drawn, and these rue heads up above with scrolling clouds. Just a nice little jar, and ended up selling for $444. Good looking 19th century piece. He said 18th or 19th. I don't think it actually. I think it's probably mid 19th century. Just my thought. And we have this rather nice famille vert Kangxi sort of oblong bowl, shallow bowl or plate. Nicely done, good looking enamels, interesting scene. Here's a side shot of it to get an idea of how deep it was. They call these shallow bowls because they're not like big soup bowls. Here's a picture of the back of it. Looks like they had drilled it at one point over here to hang, which is very possible. People did it, yeah, here and here. They did, yep, okay. And at any rate, it was a nice plate, very well done, beautifully done plate. Good color. It was molded. You can see the molding lines around the inside of it, and ended up going for $813 with the little drilled holes and some of the fritting. All right. Oop, cars going by. It's Friday here in Gloucester. It's going to get very busy around here later. It's summertime. Everybody's going to the beaches and going out to dinner. We have about probably 20 restaurants within a 5-minute walk of where I'm sitting, which is very nice for me. Anyway, and this was that single. This is not a pair of vases. This is a single vase done in the Kangxi style, but very well done. This was a really well done Kangxi style vase. A number of people wrote me and said, I think it was Kangxi. I said, no, I do not think it is Kangxi. I think it's later, but really good quality. And apparently some people got very excited about it. I suspect a few people thought it was Kangxi and started themselves on a little bidding war. And it ended up bringing a lot more money than I think it should have, to be honest here. It brought $4,510, which seems like an awfully big price for that. I'm not knocking the piece, but to me it looks like a $1,800 to $2,500 vase at the most. But who knows? Maybe I'm crazy. And then we have this. This was a really nice Chinese dragon picture frame. Absolutely loved this. It was beautifully done, very fine, nice deep work on it. Here's a side shot of it. You get a better idea of the depth of the repoussé. It's all beautifully chased. Nice example all the way around. And it did just fine. It did very well, actually. It ended up bringing $1,170. All right. And then there was this rather nice big export sided faceted serving platter, meat platter. Had a stock pattern interior, a landscape scene, and with a boy sort of on the inside looking out over some women. There's an elderly woman being helped along here and read to by a younger woman. It's sort of an interesting scene, sort of a snapshot of life in China at the time. And this nice big sort of gutsy border on it. Attractive plate. And it ended up going for $278. And these days, big plates and charges like this are bringing a lot less than they used to bring, which is really great if you're a collector. These big platters used to bring double or triple that. Now this was a nice little saucer or dish with all the calligraphy and script on it, very reminiscent of the chicken cups. If you've seen the first, they started as a Qinlong thing. Well, before that they had chicken cups too, but the ones with all the inscriptions on them typically were done starting in the Qinlong period and then moving forward, and they continued to do them right into the 20th century, and every once in a while one comes along that's quite nice. This one did have a Qinlong mark on it. I'm not so sure at all that it was Qinlong, but beautifully done. And here's the rim with a little bit of fritting on it, but excellent quality. It might be slightly later, hard to date without holding it, but beautiful quality. And then it went for $1,000. Okay, but just so you know, a few years ago we had one of the Chinlung cups that we knew was probably Chinlung mark, but we knew was 20th century, early 20th century, and I think it brought over 2,000 to our surprise. And then we have this. What's this doing here? This is okay, there we go. It cleared itself up. This was a nice Kangxi teapot that we saw. I liked it. I like the scene on it. I like the figural scenes on these. Here's the picture of the top of it. There's the bottom. Very typical Kangxi foot, unmistakable. Here's a side view of it. Beautifully done. The lady on the balustrade. Here she is holding her fan. Nice little teapot. And it did well. A lot of people liked this. It brought $611. It was nearly perfect. It was in good shape overall. Came from Gunnar Jacobson over in Sweden. He gets good things. He puts them up here, and we do keep track of Gunnar. And then there was this plate, this Neue Straits peacock plate with this giant pink peony from the Sellers Ceramics and Collectibles, the Shangri-La guys over in the Netherlands. Very attractive plate, and it went for $221. Neue Straits stuff, as many of you know, has gotten so popular in the last, especially in the last 3 or 4 years. It's just amazing. A few good books have come out on it. Very festive, very brightly colored, an entirely different look than the typical Chinese domestic ware. But people love to collect it. And then there was this nice 18th century blue and white box. I think this was one of the better buys of the week. It was a nice little box. It was 2.5 or so inches tall and about 4 inches wide. Beautifully done. Nice little box. Here's the bottom of it. Okay, nice 18th century bottom on it, possibly Kangxi. Beautifully done. There it is. And it went reasonably, $147, which I think is a great buy for one of these. I really do. I think that this was one of the better buys of the week. All right, somebody got a terrific thing for a very modest amount of money. All right. And then we have this, the grisaille decorated Chinese export hunt scene plate. This is a pretty rare pattern. It was made for obviously for the English market, European market. And you've seen these hunt scenes before. In the foreground, it may be hard to see where you are, but there are dogs. They're on the hunt, running in the foreground here, and two riders, the man and the woman, and the man with his whip, and going along. There's some nice gilding still left on this very Europeanized design border. And here it is. It's just 9 inches, which is pretty typical of the size of these. And it did very well. It ended up going for $486, which is fine, and it was perfect. It did have a little bit of wear to the enamels on the inside. You could see them if you examine the pictures closely. I think it was absolutely perfect, the plate would have probably bought $800 or $900. All right, and then there was these two plates. These plates weren't perfect, but I thought they were really pretty, so I put them in the newsletter for people that maybe are shopping on a budget and they want to get something authentic that looks really great and instant wall decor. If you have a dining room and you want some nice Chinese plates to put up. I thought these were very pretty. They had star cracks and some issues going on with them, but they went for nothing. They went for $100 for the pair. All right, so it was a good opportunity if you're shopping on a modest budget to get something very attractive for yourself and something to learn from. All right, and this is coming up. This hasn't closed yet. This closes on Sunday. It's a rather nice page turner, Chinese export page turner, early 19th century, I would guess. Beautifully done, beautifully carved. You have the double gourd devices on here in this lattice pattern and precious objects running up and down it. Here's another view of it from the other side. Here's the end. Nice piece, and beautifully carved. There's the back of it. All right, and it's on the newsletter page still. It's got 7 bids. It's up to about $86. So the seller Stubbsy Wubsy has this. He gets good things, and that's a nice looking carving. I like that. And this also is closing on the weekend on Sundays. This rather nice moon flask. It's probably a 19th century one, but nicely done. Nicely done. Moon flasks are always popular, and they display well because they're nice and wide. There's the foot of it. Pretty typical. Yeah, mid-late 19th century. And it's up to $126. It's a foot tall and in pretty good shape. Check it out. All right. And what else is on? Oh, this is that big. It's a nice big Wan Li charger. It's been restored. It's been restored, but it's a very fine quality example. It really is a nice example. The central scene with the bronze incense burner filled with flowers, and the way they did the inner border and then the outer borders is really well done. Nice piece. There's the back of it. Very typical Wan Li charger. And so forth. You can see a line here. It's probably where they did some restoration. And currently it's up to $1,456 with the repair. All right, but it's a nice example. And this is closing over the weekend as well. This is from Buckinghamshire Antiques over in the UK. Nice Yongchen terracine plate with the balustrade running around it. Very attractive. Okay. And that's about it for the week. We'll get the newsletter out later on today and upload this video. Well, you'll know we've uploaded it because you'll be looking at it. What am I saying? All right. And thanks for visiting. Sign up for the newsletter if you haven't already. And subscribe to us here on YouTube. And we'll be back every week and sometimes in between. All right. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.